Hello, this is Gypsy Spirit with you, and welcome to tarot reading lesson number 3. So we are now going to start working on the major arcanas and what they mean. So let's look. I'll tell you which to pull out. You want to pull the Fool card, which they're in numbers. Now, some of you may have them in Roman numerals and some of them in just regular numbers. Sometimes I have to look up the Roman numerals. But anyway, you're going to pull the Fool card, the Magician card, and the High Priestess. I do 3 at a time. So let's look at those cards. The Fool card is 0. And if you look at this card, it's like, now most people always get the Rider-Waite deck when they're first starting out with that. That's fine. So if you have the Rider-Waite or whatever whatever deck you have, with the Rider-Waite, there's a young person, looks like standing on a cliff. And he has like a stick with a little pouch. It always reminds me of some kid who's like running away from home or whatever. And then there's a dog close by. But the Fool card, it's a brand new chapter. And it's like, if you look at my card, which is the Alice in Wonderland deck, you think of a young person. Think of it how like when you were really young, and you thought that nothing bad could happen to you. You know, like, like maybe you were immortal or something and you were always willing to take chances. That's what the Fool card is. It's like they're on a new journey and they're just ready to go, you know. They're not really thinking about consequences. They're just ready to start this new journey. And so, and as you can see, you know, like even in my Alice in Wonderland, she's taken a leap of faith and she's jumping down into the rabbit hole. That's what Alice in Wonderland is all about. She's taken that leap of faith and going down that rabbit hole, thinking that, or believing that everything is going to be good, and she's adventurous and she's just ready for the new adventure. But you also, with this card, you also have, in many of the decks with the Fool card, they'll have like a lamp or a light or a dog. And the light is showing that there's wisdom. You do have some wisdom. So be careful in your choices. Be careful. I think of Pinocchio, you know, when I think of the Fool card also, because, you know, Pinocchio kind of went this way and that way. So when I see the Fool card, it's like, yeah, you're starting a new journey, but really stay true to your heart. Stay true to yourself. You know, don't get swayed by things that look so appealing. You know, the old saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So this is like just advising you, even though you have a young heart, or you have that energy of a young heart, but, you know, don't get fooled, you know, by things that seem to be wonderful and they're not as good as they seem to be in reality. So that card is like, yeah, take chances. That's what life is all about, taking chances, but also don't be so foolish. So the Magician card we go to next. So in starting a new chapter, you're leaving a chapter of your life. We're always evolving. That's what life, this journey of life is about, is evolving, right? So when you look at the Magician card, you're in a new journey of your life, but you had to go through that last journey that you were in to get to the journey that you're in now. And every event or every journey in our lives, every path that we take, we learn lessons. And those lessons are meant to equip us for the next journey in our lives. And so that's what the Magician card is all about. If you look at this card, you can see the wand, as a cup, a sword, and a pentacle. See, here's a pentacle right here, the wand, the sword, and the cup. Mushrooms and Alice in Wonderland always stand for, wisdom, like tapping into something much deeper into what we know of the here and now. So what that card is telling me is, when you get to the Magician card, that card says that the person that you're reading for is totally equipped for everything that they need to get through this new journey in their life. They've learned everything that they needed to learn, and they have come into this new journey with all the tools they need to create the magic that they need to get through this journey, this next journey. So they just need to listen and stay tapped in to their higher divine, and it will get them through. Speaking of the higher divine, the High Priestess is next. She is your higher divine, and she has the secrets of the unknown world you are seeking, and you need to listen to her. Well, the Alice in Wonderland, this is what this looks like. It's a little girl, and she's looking at that woman, and that woman is really her. So in every card, you're going to see the black pillar and the white pillar. I think in the Rider-Waite, it's an older woman, like middle-aged woman, or maybe in her 40s, but she has usually like a big like crystal ball here, and like some half moons on each side. I always think of maybe the moonstone that's right here in the center. And she, of course, has the black and white pillars. And if you look, she's sitting with this scroll. It looks like the Torah or something. And she's sitting with the scroll. So let me explain who the High Priestess is. So before we are born, and it talks about this in the Bible, before we are born, there is like a blueprint made of our lives, how things are going to pan out. And like before we actually enter into this world, there's a lot of agreements made, contracts made with people that are going to be in our lives in this in the life that we're coming into. So the High Priestess, she carries the blueprint. So when we come into on this planet, we have our vessel, our human body, our physical bodies. We have a spirit, which is made up of the chakras, and a spirit that communicates with the soul. The soul is our higher divine, and the soul is the higher divine that has a blueprint to our life. And so it's really important that we all stay connected with our higher divine, because those are our instructions, if you will, our Bible, so to speak, on this planet. She has the blueprints of everything that's supposed to happen to us. And when we lose connection with her, it's like we start running around in a circle with our heads cut off, and we lose that connection, and then it becomes very scary because we don't really know what we're supposed to be doing next. So that's why it's so important to stay connected to your higher divine. And if you look at Alice, I mean, she's looking at this woman, and she's looking for wisdom, and she's trying to get wisdom. from this woman, her higher divine. So let's go on and look at the Empress. Now the Empress is, we're going to look at the Empress, the Emperor, and Hierophant. So the Empress is all about feminine energy. We have a lot of creativity in us. I talked about this with some people before. I have a friend who owns it's a ladies consignment store, and it's called Reinvented Upscale Resale. The woman that owns it is a dear friend of mine. Her name is Beth. Beth has this energy. I mean, it's just this amazing energy that when you're around her, you don't want to leave, because she just spreads it all over the place. She's energetic, she's very creative, and her business is very successful. So that's what you see in the Empress. Somebody who's very grounded. She knows who she is, what she is, and she's not afraid to take chances. And she's got all kinds of creative ideas waiting for her, because there is a castle or a ship that is coming in for her, and she just keeps moving forward. She doesn't listen to, you know, what other people think that she should be listening to. She listens to her higher divine. She listens to her heart. She stays true to herself. And so that is your Empress. And she has that feminine energy of caring and listening and how just, you know, nurturing. She has that nurture, kind of like the Queen, but the Empress, she's very grounded in who she is, what she is, and that is a major card. So the Emperor that we're going to look at, the Emperor is the opposite of that. He's very grounded. He has total confidence, self-confidence in who he is and what he is. And he doesn't take any crap from anybody. He's risen to the top. He has made his way because he's followed his own footsteps, and he's grounded himself. And he's, you know, it's the Emperor and the Empress, they set boundaries, and they stay true to themselves. They step into their own empowerment, and by doing that, they create that energy of letting people know that they cannot be swayed, that you cannot, that nobody can cross over that boundary, and they're going to continue to rise to the top. And they're not out to hurt anybody, or you know, like they're not, their energy is not about hurting other people so that they can get to the top. Their energy is really being true to themselves, and listening, taking wise advice when they know they need to take it, listening to their higher divine, and setting those boundaries. The person that comes to my mind, and I know we've seen, you know, a lot of different phases with this person, you know, like Johnny Depp. And I remember listening to something, he was on some sort of an interview, and he said, those are his words, you know, be true to yourself, be honest with yourself. So he was on, I guess he's doing like this French film where he plays a king. It's based, I guess, on a true story, but they were interviewing him, and they were asking him if he feels boycotted by Hollywood, and he said no, because he doesn't think about it. He knows that he's a very gifted actor. He knows who he is, what he is. He stays true to himself. I think he's a little weird, you know, but that's just my opinion. He doesn't give a rat's ass what I think, because he knows who he is, and he's very grounded in what he does. And he was talking about Hollywood, that, you know, there's like a certain way you have to live in Hollywood, like a robot, and everybody follows the person that's in front of them. And he said no, he doesn't want that in his life. He said, for those people that are living like that, more power to them. He'll be on the other side. So that's what when I think of an emperor, I think of somebody like him who really stands true to himself, and they dance to the beat of their own drum, but they've done it in a way where they haven't hurt anybody, and they've come to the top. They've accomplished what they want to accomplish. So the next card is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the counterpart to the High Priestess. He is inviting you to move out of the physical plane and more into the spiritual plane. So you'll see on your card, it looks like a pope. You have the dark and the white, you know, because we always live in between light and darkness. You know, we can either choose to go live in the dark, or we can choose to live in the light. So when you're looking at the Hierophant, he is, yeah, he is like the Pope, if you will. He's brings you to that higher spiritual plane. He's encouraging you to meditate, but he's also the one, like he's in connection with your higher divine. He is also the one that will bring the karmic energies that you need to help get you on the right track. So I was telling a story about, there's a story in the Bible, and again, you know, this is a daddy story. My dad had credit. His credit was so good he could buy the whole world. That's how good it was. And back in the 80s, late 80s, I was trying to get a credit card, and he wanted to help me. He was going to have to co-sign. And his sister-in-law, who was my stepmother's sister, she worked as a manager of a bank or something, I don't know. And they were going to get this credit card through this bank. And at that time, I was going to church. I was very religious. And I was reading in the Bible. And I can't remember if it's in what book it is, but it's like in one of the first 3 books of the Bible. And it's about a gentleman who's on a donkey, and he's traveling one way, and all of a sudden the donkey makes a U-turn, turns around, and starts going back the other way from which they were coming from. And the man, you know, like beats the donkey and makes him turn around and going forward on the path that he wanted to go. And again, it happens 3 times. The donkey makes a U-turn, the man beats the donkey, gets him back on track. Finally, the 3rd time, an angel comes to him and says, "Why do you keep beating this donkey? I'm the one that's in the way of the donkey, and I'm the one that's blocking him, and that's why he keeps making a U-turn. But you keep beating him. You're not supposed to go this way. There's another direction for you to go. You need to turn around." And I remember reading that, and you know, I had been trying to get a credit card, and I kept getting turned down. I just wanted a limit of $500. So here my dad has this amazing credit. Who's going to co-sign for me? And the bank came back and said that the woman who was my dad's sister-in-law that was taking the application needed to write a letter as to why she thought that it would be a good idea for my dad to co-sign for this credit card. Well, when that happened, I took it that God was putting obstacles in my way, telling me, no, this is not the route you're supposed to take. And actually, I was right. It wasn't the route that I was supposed to take, and I'm so glad that I said no. Of course, my dad got mad. He thought I had a chip on my shoulders. I had nothing to do with that. So that's what the Hierophant does. It's like the Hierophant will put into action the spirit guides, the angels, or whoever needs to be there to create something in your life, to turn you around, to get you on the right track. And it also is an indication that maybe you're making decisions on your own that maybe are not good decisions, and you just really need to meditate on it and listen to your higher divine. So the Hierophant is definitely advising you to just stop and meditate. Don't make any, rational decisions, and you want to stay in that light, connecting to your higher divine, connecting to your spirituality, and really staying true to that and connecting with it. So this is 20 minutes. So we got four, let's see, we got 6 of the major arcanas. In our next lesson, we're going to learn 6 more. Okay, stay tuned.